Well, we're back to normal in Port Charles. I mean, it was a pretty normal week, right? We had a creepy guy at the pool checking a girl's butt out. We had a baby born in the courtroom. That's normal. And we had a really bad proposal that will end up in losing a character. You know, all things being said, pretty normal week in Port Charles. Hi, I'm Mama Snark. I started snarking General Hospital like 13 and a half years ago. I don't know what possessed me. In real life, I'm a writer. I'm a marketing person. Oh, I'm a singer. That's another thing. Is that a thing that people say? I don't know, especially on a podcast. What about you, David? Who the heck are you?
Well, I am not a person who had a baby in a courtroom or helped have a baby in a courtroom. I'm David Lally. I am Snark Jr., as I am known on the page. I am a professional writer, director, producer in New York City, and I've been a General Hospital fan since all the way back in 1973. So do the math.
I graduated from high school that year.
There you go.
Welcome to General Hospital Snark. So, normal week, David.
Yeah, we sort of got back to normal and our normal inconsistencies in the show. Where do we want to start?
I want to start with Kai's shins in the swimming pool. So everyone knows that the swimming pool set is just our favorite to snark because we've seen the pictures of it in real life and we know that it's only 3 feet deep.
It's a baby pool.
It's a baby pool, right? My above ground blow up pool is deeper than the MetroCourt pool. And
yeah, Kai's posture in the pool was that of an adult with like a child sitting in the baby pool, kind of trying to lean back and make it look like that's natural, and it's not.
The other place I caught where the depth really showed was when Dex shoved Boyle into the pool, and the shot we get is Boyle is on his tummy, but his feet, he literally has his feet poking up, so he's not touching the bottom.
And when Emma got in the pool, it was like, whoa, this pool's too crowded. 3 people. It was too crowded.
We love summer in Port Charles.
poor Marco. You can imagine, like, action, and he's got to like look like he's, jumping out of the pool. Like, oh, it's really deep here. I'm in the deep end, 3.5 feet.
In spite of the fact that we're coming down from all the nurses' ball reveals and announcements, it was still a pretty great week.
Yes.
Where do you want to start, David?
Let's start with our new favorite, Rory Gibson. Now, soaps, when they put you on a show, they either ease you in gradually or they push you in the deep end. And Rory got pushed in the deep end. He's been on every episode since he was introduced. He's swimming beautifully.
He's
an Olympic swimmer.
Yep, working for me, 100%.
Yeah. His clothes fit. He's an adult. I mean, and the way I can tell is I try to picture, I don't know how many people do this, but I try to picture in my mind, okay, if this were Chad saying those lines, how would he interpret it? And I still think even with the birth scene, he would come off like nervous and freaking out and everything. Whereas Rory was very still and calm and helping Sasha, talking her through it. I like that.
As ridiculous as it is that someone being upset on a witness stand would make them go into labor, ... What I found to be charming about those scenes was the interaction between Sasha and Michael. They felt so normal, so natural with one another. There was no weirdness. It was just, we love each other. We don't know what our relationship is, but we love each other and we're supporting one another as this amazing event takes place. And I thought those were really sweet scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always tell good acting, especially when a new actor comes on, with how the other actors interact with them. Mm-hmm. Especially, since Michael, there's a history with the character. So everybody else on the show knows the history, except there's a new person playing that role. And for the new person playing that role, they've probably boned up on the history. But until you start interacting with those actors, and again, you can see the subtle changes. I think you pointed out last week the conversation between Jason and Michael seemed very adult and
They were
mature.
peers. They were
Right,
peers.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was just the lines because let's face it, the writers, even though they're taking Michael in a new direction, are still in their heads and will be for a couple of weeks until they get used to seeing Michael on screen. They're still writing for Chad.
Yeah, but
So,
it's coming off
but
very
it's coming off
differently. Yeah.
very, very differently. And I can't say enough. And again, just if you read the soap internet universe, he's been pretty much universally accepted.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
the diehard Chad fans are like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
All right. So we have the Michael thing sorted, and that's a beautiful thing because now we can move forward with all the fallout from the toddler that Sasha just gave birth to. Why that wasn't an announcement, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you got her registered in preschool? Because she's going to be going next week.
She was sore-assed from the birth canal to her first appearance in the courtroom.
Well, at least, so I counted on my fingers last night, and Sasha is 7 months pregnant, 7.5 months pregnant at this point. So yes,
Yeah.
the baby's early, but not, especially for a girl, not
Not
dangerously early.
premature, not, yeah.
When they pulled that shot, I mean, Willow was like,
How much longer do I have to hold this baby? But what did you think of the courtroom scenes? I agree with you in the sense that I think it's lazy to have courtroom scenes where it's question, answer, and then we sort of like, oh, time has passed. Somebody's redirecting now. I like to see it in real time.
oh, I don't mind that because the way they did it yesterday with the cutaway scenes with Rick asking certain questions, it worked for the time, I guess. But you're right. Courtroom scenes, unless they are written by a really good attorney, are, like we've said, are not always the most exciting things. I mean, the other day, Tracy losing her crap on the stand, that was entertaining, right? But yeah, well, for the most part, but we've had so many things come out. I mean, the fact that Rick was able to extract the parentage of the baby and then the baby being born. I mean, like exhibit A, here we go.
I love how the judge just like peeled out of that courtroom. Somebody
like,
get help, and she was gone.
I'm not getting amniotic fluid on my robes, babe. No.
Nobody was helping, and there's a strike outside. Come on, oh
I know, that was like, let's throw all the far-fetched thing. They got out their far-fetched plot device spinning board, and it came around to the paramedics can't get to the hospital because there's a strike.
Now let's pivot from a character that's working to a character that is not. Lucky Spencer. Oh boy, what a mess.
For as much as it was pre-evented, for as much as we were hoping that we would see a new and improved Lucky, they brought him back and then did absolutely nothing with him. It was so disappointing.
Where is the redemption story? I mean, I can't blame the writers on this one. This is the fault of past writers, past producers, where it's like you can't have that character off canvas for so long and not have any contact with his family except in secret invisible episodes where he's FaceTiming them supposedly, and then bring him back and just, say he's redeemed. Oh, I mean, this has been the crux of the story since Lucky returned. How long is he going to be here? And there are people all, with their pants on fire on the internet with, well, I thought he was staying like 2 or 3 years. It's like, really?
Do you know Jonathan Jackson?
Yeah.
Are you new here?
Like, he's not interested. He's not interested. And I know he has other things going on, but I always get the sense that he's just not interested in working.
It kind of feels that way. That's his character. So
right. But it's like he's barely back 9 months. I thought we'd at least get a year out of him.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, you're not going to marry me? Okay, bye. Now maybe we'll have a goodbye scene with Aiden. I don't know.
I
But
hope so. My gosh, after all this. And, when Lucky returned, we got the very delicious Isaiah Gannon. And what have they done
who's
with
been
Isaiah?
wasted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a story that wasn't thought out. As I pointed out on the page this morning, Lucky, bad example of a returning character. Rick, great example of a returning character. He hasn't had a slow moment since he's been back. And it's
No.
like, how hard is it to write the character of Lucky Spencer that he's, I feel sorry for Jeannie Francis because her character has the two of the worst children. Now, granted, she was in and out of mental hospitals for, they didn't do her character a great service over the years. They kept putting her in mental hospitals and coming out of her fugue state. And she was okay for a while. Now she's, one of the most competent people in Port Charles.
Yeah.
But she's stayed with the show. So we've seen her back for a while. But
and we've seen the progression. I mean, when she returned the first time, as a mature adult, I'm healed, I'm doing well. There was none of this back and forth stuff. See, I think one of the problems with Jonathan's return as Lucky is that the writers knew they couldn't really start him in a big storyline because they didn't know what he was going to do.
Right.
And so therefore he became the second person in a storyline, like the Christina situation. But let's face it, Liz and Lucky never got a story.
No.
The whole time. It was just assumed that, that was a very frustrating thing.
He's hanging around. Now I'm going to propose marriage.
All I want is to spend the rest of my days with you, with Aiden and your boys. So, Elizabeth, will you do me the honor of marrying me again?
It was dumb. And Liz, of course, being the mature person, you don't mean that. You don't want that.
And again, people are like, well, it's just, the way the role's set up and everything. They had a very successful recast for a number of years in Greg Vaughn, who is now actually was just on Days of Our Lives this week. Although he's officially off the show. He came back.
Oh, yeah. I remember when Greg
for John's. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I was a big fan of him. I'm more of a fan of him on Days with his character. But he was a solid choice.
And see, that's
Lucky.
The problem is that Lucky was like the ghost Lucky. He never really came in fully embodied back into the story at this point. He was always sort of drifting off. And, we spent 3 months making fun of the fact that he didn't shower. I mean, that's not how you bring someone back.
No.
Very disappointed in that. And
they could have done something if they knew they only had 9 months. They could have done something. They could have given a big return story and then lead up to the proposal. I'm in Liz's camp on this one. It's like, say no to this. This guy's just bad news. Yeah. I mean, yes, he's not abusive. He's not this. He's not that.
No, but he's
bad news. Move on.
He's inaccessible in a way.
Right. Of course, his solution will just come with me. And it's like,
which we escaped by this much because Becky was in contract negotiations, and I guess she signed. And
hopefully that's all worked out. And
maybe they'll put her back with Rick and tease that a little bit more. And then we'll have the Liz battling with her integrity because Rick is so shady. And
although it's interesting, this time he's not. Even though this is Sonny's family, he's going after. It's like they haven't really done much with the Sonny Rick relationship.
No, we hear about it.
Them apart.
Yeah, we hear about it. We don't.
Yeah, I think they've interacted once or twice in the almost year that Rick's been back. Now, can we pivot to another favorite character? Natalia's back.
.12. It's way over the limit.
No, because I'm fine. I feel fine. Let me just see it. I think you read it wrong.
Okay, that's it. You're under arrest.
Why?
for driving while
For
intoxicated and
what?
obstruction.
This is total harassment. I'm wearing a white dress, and I don't want it to get dirty on this car. Are you kidding?
Hold on, here's my soapbox. I'm putting it down. Why do we have so many characters that we have to have 40-second scenes with them and only see them every 10 weeks? Not that Natalia is a character that I need a lot of scenes with her. It's as if they were whoever makes these decisions, they went, oh crap, Natalia still has another day of filming. We better fit her in here somehow.
She's out there somewhere. Now, where did we last leave her? Oh, yeah, she was fired from her job and her son rejected her. So what has she been doing all this time? Oh, she's been drinking. Spoiler alert. Tea. They're writing her off in July.
Thank you.
So it's like they forgot about her. And then they're like, yeah, I think
never mind.
It's time to, and they're killing her off.
Dun, dun, dun. Spoiler alert.
So this smacks of, oh, we forgot about her. Oh, now we want to write her off. So here's the story introducing the path to writing her off. And whereas Lucky's just going to scoot out of town, there's going to be a little story arc. So I think we're going to see all these bad things happen to not so good people. Not so good Natalia. Yesterday, I felt like they were doubling down on how awful a character she is with Marco.
Awful. She was awful. Yeah. And we keep hearing Allison/Blaze in conversation. Let's focus on the children and get rid of the mom, right? Let's bring Blaze back from tour. Let's throw her in the middle of the Chrissy, I tried to kill my enemy story and give that some depth. I don't know.
Chrissy was very mature, believe it or not, when she was with Blaze.
Yes, she was grounded. She was stabilized. And I guess that's probably why they got rid of her, because they're like, well, this is no fun.
We want Christina to be nutty. This is what Kate Manzi does on soap. She does nutty.
A healthy lesbian relationship? Nah, that's not going to work. Let's make her crazy. Well, we're definitely cranking up the Dalton story, and it took a really weird turn this week. We don't need a Lolita story, people. This is not okay. It's just, that was really creepy.
And it is coming from Emma. Like she figured it out.
Yes,
but it's still icky.
It's icky. It's unfortunate because I really love that actor. I think he could be very charming, and he could interact with Anna. He can interact with Joss, and with what I hope doesn't happen. This just occurred to me, is that the creepy predator kind of energy leaks over into Joss, because Joss will kill him. It'll be like
it's interesting though, casting wise. I know he was one of the contenders to replace Charles Measure as John Brennan, because he's also Australian. His accent's a little more, washed away from being in America so long, but it's still there. And I don't know. I don't know if they screen tested him with Carly, but it's like, I think he would make a pretty good Jack Brennan. I'm not complaining about
100% agree.
Our current Brennan, but other than the fact that he towers over Vaughn. I was watching the scenes yesterday, and I'm like, wow, how tall is Chris McKenna? Oh, 6'3". Okay. How tall is
he's a big guy.
Oh, 5'11". Yeah. Big height differential.
I'm going to digress. On Beyond the Gates, so they've had a character replacement, right?
Oh, yeah.
One of the main characters, and the original actor was 6'3", 250, big, sturdy, hunky, gorgeous man.
Yeah.
And they've recast him with a man who is very slight, he's a great actor. I'm not complaining about that. Physically, it was like they went, wait a minute. And there's another one of the other main characters, Bill Hamilton, is 6'5".
Ooh.
And they have him married to a woman who is 5'1". And it is like, I have to back up. It's ridiculous, right?
Pull the camera back.
The Dalton story, I'm glad they're picking that up. I think we're going to see that. Well, we've woven in Jack and the WSB into it. And now we're bringing Anna and Emma into it. And Jason's going to be doing his due diligence. So maybe this is our summer caper, is figuring out Dalton's deal.
Yeah, and now he's working with, science and me. Something fusion.
Cold fusion. Which
So
doesn't
cold
exist.
brew?
Cold fusion is something they've been trying to do for decades. They've never been successful.
But how does that involve the harming of animals?
Science.
I have to laugh because every day when I watch the Days of Our Lives credits, there's a medical consultant on Days of Our Lives. Probably compared to General Hospital, actually, I think they're in the hospital more than General Hospital is. But it's not like there's complicated medical stories, but somehow I feel like they're more right because there is a medical consultant going over these scripts saying, no, you wouldn't be doing that. No, that doesn't happen. No, that.
Who's your character of the week? We've been multiple charactering for a while, so let's go one.
Well, this week I'll pick Amanda Seton, Brooklyn.
Ask you to back off, but you had to keep digging into the most painful thing in my life, even though I told you how much it could hurt me and my son. But I suppose hurting me was the point.
It wasn't. I promise. But once I suspected that Gio could be Dante's son, I couldn't drop it.
Because I got to hand it to her, and I would have to look. She did 14 episodes in a row. Now, yes, I know they don't film them like they used to, one episode per day, but still, that's a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of heavy dialogue. And I think, she was the clear winner. It astounds me how Lulu still thinks she's in the right. Oh, come on. Everything will be fine. But yes, no, I thought she did a bang up job on all 14 days. So 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks of episodes. That's almost 3 weeks. She's been on pretty much the whole month.
Picked her, but since you did, I will choose her son, Gio.
Oh.
He is also, this young man has, as we have said many weeks in a row now, he is stepping up to the plate with his acting skills, his acting chops. He's still doing quite a bit of face acting, which is very typical of younger, he does a lot of, and that kind of thing.
Or you feel like he's smiling inappropriately when I don't feel that, but I see what people are saying.
The only reason I say that, and it's probably a total cop out, is because every time I tried to take a screen cap of him last week, he had his mouth open like he was smiling. But in fact, in the scene, he was yelling.
In the profile pic on the page, I got him reacting to pushing.
That was great. David changed the layout, the pictures on the page, and he did Isaiah's front and center in a very cool way, and I approve 100%. Now, Gio is, so yesterday when they were at the pool, right? So we've had cranky Gio and sad Gio and confused Gio, but Gio is a professional. He came back, he got a job as a lifeguard. He can't practice because he doesn't have a violin, so that's cool. But we saw him do several different things, emotion-wise, several different things, from the angsty to the concerned about Emma to the, let's push Boyle into the pool and aren't I clever? And that was, I think he's showing a great range.
He's a musician, and I think he was just on that Steve Burton, Brad Anderson podcast. This was it Stone Cold and the Jackal.
Mm-hmm.
They get all the cool guests. How do they do that? And and he was talking about playing the violin and acting are different sides of the same talent, which is very true. Actors are singers and dancers and can play an instrument, are multi-hyphenates. And he is definitely a multi-hyphenate. And again, I would have to look. I don't believe he's ever acted before General Hospital.
I don't think so.
But when he was standing around doing nothing for most of last year, it was like he wasn't bad. He just wasn't doing anything.
No, but I think last year in private life, he was really hitting the books, so to speak. He was studying his acting, his craft, and I think they rewarded him with this wonderful story.
Right. So I think that's a good choice. And like I said, I don't mind some of his facial tics because within the realm of real life, those would be, you would maybe smirk or smile or, those are possible reactions. when I don't like facial tics is like when it's that's all you're doing. And I mean that personally, that's how I felt old Michael was. It was like he would rely on, grinning and grimacing and doing all these grumpy cat features. I took a picture of Michael and I shared it with Mama Snark last night where it's like, oh, look, it's that grumpy cat look. Although on him, it doesn't look grumpy.
The Christina story is just not going anywhere right now. I mean, we have.
What can they do? It's like,
Yeah.
until there's a twist. The twist didn't happen on the stand because she got yanked out of there, which, yeah, that's realistic.
Yeah, right. Because no attorney ever shares their witness list, and you prepare for. I mean, that never happens. Nobody. Yeah, you don't, like, both Jason and Christina were pulled. That doesn't look shady at all.
Well, I don't think was Jason there to testify or just.
Oh, maybe not. She just didn't want.
I think he was just there for support, and and some people have said, well, it's Diane, and if Christina's not there, but still, it throws her case off.
I don't know what the end game is going to be for this, because aside from Kate Mancy being sent to, or Christina being sent to an insane asylum so Kate Mancy can take her honeymoon in real life because she just got married. Yeah. I don't know. And the other thing, we have Lulu, who is still delulu, and about everything that happened. Like that. But what's next for her? I mean, she's basically cut off her nose to spite her face and bragging about it.
Well, here's what I would like to see. It's the summer. So how about some more of the kids' reactions to Gio being Rocco's brother? A one day, hey, Mom, what's this? Doesn't cut it for me. Because even if Rocco's happy about that development, I have it caught in my mind that there was another soap that did this storyline, and the child who was already in the family found out, was pissed off. Like, I'm not the oldest anymore. I'm not but I would like to see more reaction, like Rocco talking to Danny, perhaps.
We had a scene several weeks ago where the three boys, Gio, Rocco, and Danny, were having drinks or hanging out, chit in the chat on the Q patio. Like, right. Let's put those three guys, and we can throw Emma in the mix. We can throw Charlotte in the mix. I mean, let's have them do something. At the very least, have them have a conversation, and Rocco say, wow, are you really my brother? And Gio going, whoa, I hadn't thought about that. And that kind of thing. Right.
Because we got a lot of like reaction all at once. And now I want to see reaction within the course of a day. Now, it is the Metro Court pool, and everybody in town hangs out there. So hopefully everybody in town will be running into now buff Gio, because last summer he wore a full shirt. I guess the lifeguard shirt is just the tank top. People say like, oh, the Metro Court pool, unless Christina's falling out a window into the pool, it's like, why are we there? It's just a device to get multiple characters in town.
Hey, would you have any soap recommendations this week, David?
I have the most obvious soap recommendation in the world, but since I haven't recommended it yet, I will now.
Okay.
Any Hallmark, Lifetime, there are a couple other channels that do it. Big Lots, which was one of those retailers that, sold stuff from other stores. They went out of business recently, and I grabbed maybe about 30 different Harlequin romance DVDs. And, they're just a fun, mindless 2 hours of a soap romance. They're always filmed like in Canada. So they have all these Canadian actors.
And they're beautiful scenery and the small towns.
And, so that's my soap recommendation for the week. If you're not already doing it, which I know a lot of people do, because they're not getting what they want in terms of soapy romance on the soap opera.
Yes. I think it's time for text messages from Wicked Stepmother.
Absolutely.
This week, she was very interested in Joss's hair color. She says, what color hair does Joss have? Is she blonde? Does she have brown hair? And then she texted me a few minutes later. She goes, oh, it's a new scene. I see that her hair is both of those colors. And I'm like, although I will say, I noticed yesterday that Maxie and I are sporting the same hairdo.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
It looks much better on her.
She's got a like pre-2010 Maxie look.
Yeah, she's looking great. And that's another person I want to see jump into a main story. Let's get this girl something to do because she's a favorite. She's a legacy.
But they
character.
keep her involved.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if Liz doesn't have a story, where's Liz? At least Maxie is utilized.
Yeah,
As long as
she's
she's
the
being
talk to
utilized.
person.
Smartest person on the show sometimes.
She and Tracy are the ones who are running the show. All righty. Well, that's another week for us here in Snarkland. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Find us on Substack. Find us on YouTube. Well, obviously, if you're watching this, you found us on YouTube. Join the page. Post your snarky comments. We love them. So, David, have a wonderful week. And to those of you who made it this far, thank you for watching. We love you guys and we do it for you. So we'll see you next week.